You know the moment. The movie has barely introduced the main cast, and you already know who the killer is. You know the grieving widow is lying. You know the guy who supposedly died off screen is coming back in the third act. You know the oddly specific pocket watch shown in the first 5 minutes is going to block a bullet in the final 10. And when the reveal finally happens, everyone else in the room is shocked, while you're sitting there thinking, they made that way too obvious. If this keeps happening to you, it doesn't mean you're a clairvoyant genius, but it does mean you aren't watching the same movie as everyone else. Let me explain. Most people watch what the characters are doing. You are watching what the writer's doing. You notice that the camera lingered on a seemingly empty hallway for half a second too long. You notice when a famously expensive actor is cast as a random background mechanic. You notice when a conversation carefully avoids the one logical question that would solve the entire plot. To another viewer, these are just details. To you, they're decisions. A movie isn't real life. It operates on a strict budget of time and attention. Every character, prop, and strangely specific line of dialogue costs money to film and minutes to show. So when a story goes out of its way to hand you a detail, part of your mind quietly asks, why did they need me to see that? That single question ruins a lot of twists. After you consume enough thrillers, mysteries, and prestige dramas, individual stories begin collapsing into familiar shapes. The aggressively charming guy introduced too early is hiding a dark secret. The couple who despise each other with suspicious intensity will be making out in the rain by minute 90. You don't need to consciously memorize these tropes. Your brain stores the architecture. But you also read the negative space, the things the story refuses to show you. A flashback that cuts away a second too early. A heavily discussed event where one key person's perspective is completely omitted. A locked door nobody has bothered trying to open. Sometimes your biggest clue isn't what appears on screen. It's the oddly shaped hole left around it. You notice when the story is spending too much energy trying to make you look away. It is highly flattering to believe you do this because of sheer deductive brilliance. And being sensitive to narrative structure does require sharp pattern recognition. But there is a much less flattering reason you constantly predict endings. Uncertainty is deeply uncomfortable. Suspense gives the story all the power. It makes you wait. Guessing the ending takes that control back. Once you have a theory, you're no longer helplessly waiting to discover what happens to these people. You are testing a hypothesis. This explains why getting the ending right feels so intensely satisfying. The pleasure isn't just, I'm smarter than this movie. It's a profound sense of relief. The world made sense. The strange details had a purpose. The feeling you couldn't quite explain turned out to be real. And of course, you only remember the predictions you got right. You conveniently forget the 7 alternate theories you quietly abandoned over the last 2 hours. If you mentally accuse every suspicious character in the room, eventually one of them is going to take off the mask. Unfortunately, this superpower is useless in real life. Real people are messy, and their motives don't have to make sense to an audience. But it does mean your attention leans forward. While one part of your brain watches the scene happening right now, another part is already running the math on what this scene is preparing you for. Everyone else watches the twist arrive. You watch it being built,